try, catch or throw. So these are the different exceptions that can be considered during the compile time. There is a null operator or a null character inside the program, then that is not an error, but it is considered during program execution. There is a case like exception might occur. At those cases, this try exception can be handled. It's not a complete fixed case. Block is been written in order to handle the execution of exception. Hello everyone, I welcome you all to the second session of Unit 3, that's under Object-Oriented Programming with Java. And Unit 3 is all about multi-threading. Okay, over here my name is Deepa Kutnikar. I'm working as an assistant professor under Department of Computer Science, Vidhyaashram, Temple of Excellence, Mysuru. In last session, we have discussed multi-threading and threading. So if you want to understand these concepts, you have to go back and check those first session. And the agenda of today's session, we will be discussing exception as well as exception handling. Let's start our session. The exception is all about an unexpected event that occurs during the execution of a program. So we can just consider the cases when there is a null operator or a null character inside the program, then that is not an error, but it is considered during program execution, correct? So the program will have to understand how to react for that execution, isn't it? So that's where the case of exception exists. For example, we can also consider division by 0. So we know that the value will not be proper, correct? So it is the thing which is not at all handled by a program. So that's when the execution comes into the picture. So this is nothing but a simple execution, which is an unexpected event that is occurred during program execution. Now let's understand then what is the difference between a simple error and the exception. The difference between error and a exception. Error is completely a system level issue and the exception is a program level issue. Errors are not at all handled by the program, but the exception can handle various unexpected events. That's by using various exception handling techniques like try, catch. So yes, that's why it can be handled using a try, catch. Alright, over here in this diagram, we can see that a person is busy in his programming, but an unexpected event occurs, and that is the case. He has to understand whether it is a type of error or he has to go with handling it by using exception handling techniques. So he is thinking those things. So this is with respect to a simple exception. Yeah, now let's move forward and understand how to handle those errors or the exceptions that is been occur during the program execution. Thus, by using this exception handling, we can consider that the runtime errors are handled efficiently and the normal flow of program is also maintained. So that's how we will move forward with handling this execution. Now let's understand like what exactly the purpose of the exception handling, or let's understand why this exception handling has to be considered during program execution. So the unexpected program crashes that can occur within the program can be handled easily by using exceptions. That's the first thing. The next thing is the exception will provide the meaningful error messages for the user so that a user can understand what is the error that has to be noted. Then accordingly the user will move forward and clear those errors. So that's the second thing. Next, by using exception, one can handle the program stability. Yes, absolutely, as the execution provides the stable support for the program. We can say that by using this exception handling, the program provides the stability can be provided to the program. So these are the different purposes of using or utilizing exception handling. Now let's see a simple diagram how the exception is been handling. So initially at the first stage, what happened? Yes, the problem occurs. Now for that problem, an exception is been created. So that's the initial thing. What happens? Okay, the exception is been created. Next, it's been assigned like which exception has to be considered. Will it be through a catch or a try catch or nested catch? So there are various things. So it will clarify which is the exception that has to be considered for the separate problem. All right. So that is our second thing, that is through exception is considered. And as this exception is considered, now it will consider the program crash or any of the error which is occurred unexpectedly, and it tries to resolve that by showing error messages to the users. So next what happens is it will move forward with handling those exceptions. So once it is created, it has to be maintained, isn't it? So that's where the process includes. The first one is a program occurring, then creating an exception, then to consider which exception to be handled, further handling that exception efficiently. Now we did understood what are the various exception handling methods that is available and how the process flows. Up next, let's move with understanding the types of exceptions. Yes, the first type of exception is none other than checked exceptions. So it can be also called as compile time exception because these exceptions are carried only during the compile time. In order to move with checked exception, we need try, catch or throws. So try, catch or throw. So these are the different exceptions that can be considered during the compile time. Let's say example here. So these type of exceptions are considered during IO exception and file not found exceptions. The second type of exception is none other than runtime exception. As the name itself says, these type of exception is occurred during runtime only, and it is not mandatory to handle these type of exceptions. It is completely optional. If a user needs that, yes, then he can create a exception, or else no need. All right, let's say example like arithmetic exception and a null pointer exception, etc. The third type is error or the severity issues. As we know, there is a difference between a error and a exception, correct? So these exceptions are completely handled by program. If there is any error inside the program, then it can be handled. But what if the system itself is showing some error? So at those cases, we have to go with this error type. So we can say that usually these type of errors are very difficult to handle, or it cannot be handled by the program. Example, out of memory error, like the system is showing that the software is out of memory, the storage is full, etc. So these are the various types of exceptions that is considered with respect to Java programming. Now let's go with exception handling keywords. As I told, there are various exception handling types or methods. So now let's understand those things. The first one, we have heard these things in our previous slides, isn't it? So it is none other than a try. There is a case like exception might occur. At those cases, this try exception can be handled. It's not a complete fixed case. It can occur or it may not occur. It depends on the program. All right, so that's where we will be utilizing this try keyword. The next keyword is a catch. So catch is a exception, and this is a block of code which handles the exception. So here confirmly there is a need of exception. So at those cases, we can go with this catch type. The next type is finally. So finally is a keyword which is used to specify the blocks that regardlessly executes the exception. The next type is a throw. This keyword is used to explicitly throw an exception inside the program. All right, the next thing or the next keyword is a throws. Here what happens is a complete method can be thrown into the program in order to handle the exceptions. So these are the various keywords that are available in Java, and we can consider them to handle the exceptions. All right, let's move forward and understand this try, catch and various keywords through an example, starting with a try catch. So over here we are considering a class, that is a public class exception demo. Okay, this is a class name, followed by a void main we have defined as string followed by argument. Okay, now we are calling try. So please note that try is an exception block of code which can handle the exception. We can say that the exception might occur. It's not completely fixed that exception will occur there. All right, so now we are writing a try loop. So inside that we are considering the result. So we know divided by 0 is an exception. So a program will be confusing if we go forward with divisible or dividing by 0. So at those cases what happens? We need an arithmetic exception, and let's close the loop, followed by we will get a catch in order to apply or a block of code which supports a complete exception. So that is none other than catch. So whenever catch is present, then we can say that yes, definitely there is an exception occurred and that has to be handled through a catch. All right. So we are writing that arithmetic exception E. Let's open a bracket, that is a statement system dot out dot println of cannot divide by 0. So that is a statement which shows an error for a user that okay, he is giving a 0 which is not at all divisible by 0. So in this way we can go forward with using the try and catch one together in order to handle the exceptions inside the program. So for this program, once the execution is done, at the output we will be getting this message that cannot be divided by 0. Here we can also say that the try block is responsible to handle the risky case and the catch block is responsible for handling the exception. So this is a relation that we follow with respect to handling the various exceptions. All right, let's move forward. Now let's see an example for try, catch, finally all together in a single program. So let's start with writing a class, that is public class. The name of that class that we have considered is finally a demo program. Then we are writing a main method, that is public static void main followed by string of argument. Okay, done. Let's start with try. So now let's move with try block where we are defining int data equals 25 by 5 and we need a output, so which has to be printed. We are writing system.out.println of data. All right, let's close the loop here. Now a catch block is been written in order to handle the execution of exception, but this try is solely responsible to take care of the risky codes. All right, let's see. Under catch we have written arithmetic execution of E and we are printing that statement system.out.println of E, and let's close the loop of catch. Up next we need to finally execute the execution. So for that a finally block of code is necessary. So let's write that finally followed by system.out.println and the message. So this is required. So we are writing that this block always executes. Yes, definitely that's true, correct. So when we go with finally, it is final that we will be utilizing this block. So this is how we will be going with a try, catch and a finally in order to handle the exceptions inside the program. All right, so let's close the loops and at the output we will be getting that this block always executes as well as the answer of 25 by 5. Now let's understand nested try catch. The nested try catch means a multiple try loops will be considered, or we can also see that a try block inside one more try block is considered as nested try, and we will be utilizing a catch too with respect to this try. So it is called as nested try catch. So let's see an example here. We are considering a public class. The class name we have considered is nested try. And we are writing a main method that's with respect to Java. So it is nothing but public static void main of string argument. Okay, that's done. And we can observe here we are writing a try loop, and inside that another try is been written. So this combination is called as nested try. So inside that what we are writing a statement that int a equals 10 by 0. So this is an exception. And in order to handle this risky code, we need a catch block. So let's call a catch arithmetic exception of e followed by system.out.println of inner catch divided by 0. Let's continue the program. And here we are closing that catch loop, followed by we are writing the int array of a new integer followed by 5 elements, and array of 5 can be considered with a value of 10. It's been assigned into that array. Further, we can see that catch of array index out of bonds exception. So this is a exception that we can consider and can be written according to our applications. Further, we are also writing a print statement like outer catch array index issue, and let's close the brackets. Once the execution of program is completed, at the output we will be getting that inner catch divide by 0 and outer catch array index issue. So we can observe that there are multiple catches, also multiple try loops. So this is a simple case of nested try and catch. Now let's understand the basic difference between a throw and a throws. Let's start with understanding throw. So we can say that it is used to explicitly throw an exception. Example, throw new arithmetic exception followed by we are naming it as custom message. Alright, let's see what is throws. Throws is used to declaring exception in the method signatures. So that's the difference. Over here we are also having a image where we can see that simple throw is explicitly handled. Alright, but that's not the case with respect to throw. It is directly handled and declared along with the method signature. So here we have a similar explicit block, but that's not the case with respect to throws. Alright, let's see example for throws. Public void, that is divide of, and we are considering arithmetic exception. Inside that we are writing int a equals 10 by 0, which is very difficult to handle by a system. So it will call a exception, and that exception is considered by throws keyword. Alright, so this is a simple difference between throw and throws. So if you want, you can write an example of example, and along with that example write the images so that it will be very easy to understand the difference between both the words. Now let's see the difference, simple difference between throw and throws. Throw, as we know, it has been utilized to throw an exception. But with respect to throws, it is used to declare exceptions in a method signatures. And a throw can execute single exception at a time, but that's not the case with throws. It can handle declaration of multiple exceptions. The throw is always used or initialized inside the method body, but this throws is completely used inside the method declaration. So this is the basic difference between a throw and throws. So these are the exceptions that is handled and considered by a programming language or a machine level thing. But now, can a user create that exception? Is it possible? Yes, absolutely, it is possible. So now let's move forward and understand that creation of exceptions by the users. So we have following steps in order to do that. The first thing what a user has to do is he has to create a class extending exception, and nextly he can throw the exception using the throw keyword. So let's understand this with an example. Here I am considering a class through extending exception. So class my exception extends exception. So this is my class name followed by I have to write what is that extended exception is. So my exception string is and super is. So this is a case. Let's complete the loop, followed by, let's go with public class custom exception demo, and we have to write the main method followed by try, which is responsible to handle the complex things inside the program, and through new my exception. This is a user defined exception, so that's just a statement that is been written followed by catch. So once try is there, in order to handle that, we have to write the catch. So let's go with catch my exception of E followed by a print statement which shows E dot get message. So that is a exception that is being created by a user. All right. Let's close the loops, and once the execution is completed, at the output, we will be getting that this is a user defined exception. So this is how a user can also move forward and create their own exception according to their requirement. Let's summarize the things that we have discussed till now. So we started our discussion through exceptions, understanding what is exception is. As usual, exception is nothing but an unexpected event that affects the normal flow of a program, correct? All right, the next thing that we defined is handling techniques. The exception handling techniques like try, catch, finally, throw, and throws. Thus, these are the various exception handling methods that we have discussed along with the examples, right? The next thing that we discussed is types of exceptions. So under the type, we did discover 3 different types, correct? Do you remember that? The first one is checked, second one is unchecked exception, and the third one is none other than user-defined exception. Thus, by considering exceptions, we can expect that the resource management can happen efficiently, as well as meaningful messages can be declared or defined with respect to the user. So through those messages, a user can understand like what is the unexpected thing that is occurring inside the program, and he can understand that and go forward to resolve it, right? So this is all about exception and exception handling. Thus completes unit 3, and thank you. Let's meet you up in unit 4. Thank you.